Go on to that line. And you just adjust.
I hope you can hear me clearly now. Right. Yeah, once again, just going to break down etymology. It seems to be a big thing at the moment, especially with the conscious community where language originated. What is language all about? And so I'm just going to give a brief insight. What you heard earlier was a European's definition or a European's construct into what etymology is. Etymology, so-called etymology, if you look at the book, is in a dictionary, is so-called the history of words. But if you look at the etymology of the word etymology, it means the true, I'll repeat that again, the true meaning of words. The question I would ask is, if you were constructing that language and you were the originator of language, why would you need to make up a word that says the true meaning? If you're making up a word that says the true meaning, that means what you're doing must be false. And also it means that you are not the originator of the language. So basically the word etymology admits that the Western man did not create language in the first place and is operating on some deceptive and false mode of operation. Basically, just quickly, I'll tell you that to make a language, you have to visualize. You have to visualize something before you can write a letter. You have to visualize something. So basically, we had it back in ancient days called Medunecha. Medunecha is the sound, gives you the sound of nature. Yeah, nature. Basically, everything that was constructed in language related to nature and how to work with nature to achieve your true potential. And this is how the hieroglyphs were constructed. It was a visual image in relation to nature, and it was how to work with nature. Nature was seen as divine, your divine state of being and your sustaining force, and how to interact with nature. Nature was the first teacher and was the key to living a fulfilling life, and this is the essence of hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics was a pictorial language. It worked on our memory. This is one thing that they work everything to destroy our memory. Memory is mori. Mori means the darkness within our mind. Inside the word dark is the word arc. The arc is the carrier of everything. So basically we have full chemicals in our menelated state of mind called our memory. So basically the best way that how to fulfill your potential is by visualizing a picture. When you visualize a picture, you can bring that picture into manifesting into a real state. That's the most powerful way to bring imagination into reality is through pictures. For instance, if someone, as I said earlier, if someone broke into your car and you caught sight of the guy and you said to yourself, if I see that man again, I'm going to do him something. Just the picture of that man and your emotion will bring that make that into a reality. Whereas if you said, boy, I'm going to go running in the morning, just the way you said it, it's not happening. You know, so the power we have is by visualizing things into existence. From the pictures where we used to do hieroglyphics, the hieroglyphics was now, when law came into business, a lettered form of writing came into existence, where the hieroglyphics was transliterated into words and into symbols. So this is where the big stumbling block is, because there's a period of time when the Coptic Greeks came into Egypt and destroyed everything, and the Kemet people from Kemet were not allowed to speak, and all the manuscripts were held or destroyed, and there was a long period of time whereby the original language was lost, and then the Greek pronunciation of the language took place. So this is where there is a dilemma at the moment, with Saraswati Seti is stating that the language cannot be deciphered, the hieroglyphs, because of the period of time where it was banned and lost, and through the Greek influence, the original language, spoken language, cannot be deciphered. Is there anything else you want to ask me before I go on that? My basic breakdown again, just basically, I said etymology means the true meaning of language. I'm saying that the Western society is giving us a false state of language, and I'm going to later show how this has been done.
Well, really, I'm just glad that you're here for you to be able to share with us the word, the breakdown of the words, so that we can have a better understanding. Because when we talk about the words that are spoken, we talk about how they can stop us from growing and developing. We also talk about religion and how that, in the way they've put it together, is stopping us and debilitating us from moving forward, because we're stuck in that belief that they want us to believe in, and not the true belief of words and pictures, and how we need to be moving forward.
Correct. And one lie they say is, in the beginning was the word. That's a lie. In the beginning was the person who said the word. The smartest wisdom comes from, for instance, two of the smartest animals, as I said, is through light or vision, through vibration, and through sound. So basically, when somebody comes into the room, you visualize them. You can tell by the sound that they're making and by their vibration. You can get the true essence of the person through that. So basically, through your feelings, through your emotion, through your sight, and through your intellect, this is where wisdom is constructed. And the letters and words is a science that has been now manipulated to make us senseless, to make us blind, deaf, and dumb. Respect. All right. I hope you're still with me. So basically, I'm saying now, etymology is the true meaning of words. The true meaning of words. To make up the word etymology, that means you must have constructed a lie. Basically, all the words that we use now are actually a lie. They're actually made as a deception to stop you from achieving your true potential, to keep you under a state of mental subjugation or suspended animation, to stop you from functioning, to make you, anytime you try to do something, it doesn't manifest to reality. So all words that we use now, created by the the Western man, has been designed to keep you mentally enslaved. And we've just got my brethren right in the room now. So have you got anything to interject before I continue?
Yeah, I certainly have.
Comment!
For the listeners out there right now, my name is Siayome, aka Rhem, and I'm on similar research and similar transmission of liberation, transformational information, like my brother Jammers here. And I have my own unique insight as well on these things, and we're not all gonna kind of like agree exactly, but the whole intention and where we're coming from resonates. So we're talking about etymology and the origin of the meaning of words, and there has been a very wordy culture based upon the left brain intellectual analyzing, breakdown, and so forth, having to put terms to in order to control what one seeks to understand. This is very Western kind of approach. However, at the same time, when we talk about language is tongue, and we need our tongue, we use our tongue to formulate the sounds, the shapes that the words we're going to produce come from. So that's why they say language, and it's really only one tongue. Everybody's got one tongue in their mouth, right? But we have different dialects of the one tongue. Now, when we deal with language, I mean, yes, the Europeans, Western, which would be more of an accurate terminology to say that Western hemisphere and a mindset that had grown out of it has used words, language, to distort, control, manipulate many people. But we have to kind of be clear that there's distortions in other languages too. If that wasn't the case, then we would be able to understand each other. Okay, look, you got different cultures, right? African cultures, we're gonna say, and there's how many different dialects, yeah, within one group, yeah. Now, if we were gonna say European languages is the origin of all distortion, I'm not saying it is not the distorted language, but we gotta look at language in a way where it's like, if you're dealing with some one true language, you got people who speak the same language, right, in different cultures, and they still can't unify. They still don't comprehend what another one is saying, or they differ in their meaning and their definition. So, language is something about how you, as an individual or a group, utilizes sound vibrations to manifest the reality you desire. Because that's the reason why you have a voice. You manifest through the spoken word, yeah, which is charged with feelings. Feelings is a frequency, vibration, energy, emotion. We call it emotions. Now, when a thought is enveloped in an emotional field, it becomes a creative action. So there's a lot of things, and what I mean by that is that thoughts and feelings manifest what you continuously pay, yeah? You pay. Just like people pay money, well, what we must pay is what we pay our attention to is what we then give energy towards. Okay? So anyway, I'm gonna pass you back to Brother Jim.
And as my brother so rightly said, this is the process where the lie was created. Right now, as I said, etymology is the true definition. Now I'm going to show you how the lie was created. Basically, the Westerners never invented, never constructed no language. They're still using what we created right now. We had to visualize. You have to visualize the language into existence using nature. This is the divine science that we use, and then we constructed the sounds to the symbols, and this was done, there was 3 steps of it, but the one that's still existing is phonetics. You can see phonetics. If you look in a dictionary, look in the first brackets, you'll see the phonetic sound of the language. The phonetic sounds was created by Africans called the Carthaginians. They were called the Phoenicians by the Greeks. So Africans created the sounds in the symbols called phonetics that is still used in the dictionary. Every European is talking a form of African language when they use phonetics created by the Phoenician. This is where the word phone comes from, because phone comes from the sound. That's why a phone is called the phone, because it is a device that produces a sound. So the Africans, called from ancient Kemet, called the Carthaginians created the sounds to the symbols. Right, the European, this is the job they done on us now. The Europeans went into the symbols that they use called letters. They're not Europeans, they're Westerners. They went into the language and they took out the sounds from the symbols in a process called strip-fo-symbolia. Strip-fo-symbolia. Strip means to strip, fo means the sound, so they strip the sounds from the symbols to create letters. So basically, the letters that we use now in the modern language, the sound has been taken out of the language. We've just learned the symbols, and the sounds have been taken out of the language. What this has done now, it's enabled the Western now to perform some deception on us, because we are being trained just to look at the letters and not hear the sounds in the language. So this has made us deaf, dumb and blind to the design of the Westerner, because basically if an animal comes into your area, the animal is going to make a sound, and you will be able to pick up the sound and the vibration of the animal, and through that you'll be able to process the intention. So the Western society, with their construct in their mouth called the teeth, went into our continents and with their teeth stole everything from us. Basically, how words are constructed now. Words are constructed, they give you a bunch of letters, but they don't tell you the meanings in the sounds in the letters. So basically, once again, I just break it down again. Kemet, called the Phoenicians, applied the sounds to the language. the Westerner went into the language and hid the sounds or reversed the sounds in the language, and this is what happens is now a certain we are calling on a word, and the opposite effect is coming into existence.
Excuse me, brother Jammers. So we got this microphone here, which is okay. I'm trying to get in on this, yeah. But the microphone is a little bit. It is a bit. I'll get back on. Hello. All right.
Yeah, so basically they performed a process of strict false symbolia on the language, and took out the sounds and letters and made us deaf, dumb and blind. Basically now how I'm gonna go, so basically I'm just gonna go backtrack. So basically ancient Kemet created the sounds and the symbols. The European or Westerner came in and reversed the sounds or took the sounds out the symbols, and now they've given us letters to learn, which has made us deaf, dumb and blind. I'll give you an example. Basically, for the word return, we are told the return is R-E-T-U-R-N, R-E-T-U-R-N. We're given a spelling to learn the word. So basically, we're not given a true understanding of the word, we're just given a spelling. So basically, you're given an instruction to follow in the word. So for instance, the word return, you learn the letters of the word. You don't learn the actual hidden meanings in the word, and you just perform an instruction, just like a dog. Just how a dog would respond to a sound, this is what you've been trained to do, because they don't tell you inside the word return there are two sounds. The two sounds inside the word return is the word re. Every time you see the word re, it means to go back. Return, remember, recall, renew. So every time you see the word re, it means to go back. Then you've got the word turn, and then they don't teach you that inside the letters of R-E-T-R-O-U-N there are two sounds, and to understand the two sounds in the letters of the word return, you say the sounds backwards. So for instance, you see R-E-T-U-R-N, R-E-T-U-R-N, that's how they tell you, and they say return, and then you perform the action like a dog, but they don't tell you that re means to go back, turn is another meaning. So to understand the word return, you say turn back. Recall means to call back. Remember means to remember back. So basically they've hidden how to decipher the language in the letters, and when you hear the sound letters, you let everything happen to you.
Okay, so this is where unfortunately, brothers, we have a problem with one of the mics, so you'll have to share the mic between you. So if you can just acknowledge each other, as in when you want to come in, say. Yeah? Yes. So please, there was something you wanted to react to?
Well, it's something, interjecting, because
Alright, so it's a freestyle. We're going to do a little freestyle. We're going to show you how fast interaction of language takes place from a higher definition of communication. So every time you want to come in, just come in on the word now.
Yeah, well, now and one, yeah, as you see that the word now and one is actually the same thing, and we won, or you wonder, or are you the one? Yeah, it's phonetics again, even though it's not pronounced or spelt the same way. But the thing is that, I wanted to interject because, you see, we gotta come out of there's a bigger game going on here. And yes, language is one of the ways things are used to manipulate people's reactions, to manipulate their emotions, because this is what it gets deeper into. Because your thought is an image, and we all talk about, do you have a vision? Do you have an image of what you want to be, or what you want to do, or what you want to have? And we have to comprehend that thoughts is images. The emotions is the energy, the creative power that materializes that thought into a visual or materialized, actualized reality, so to speak. Yes, a manifestation. Now the thing is that we need to come out of this us and them thing, because that puts us right into the matrix, puts us right into the game, okay? Because it's not us and them. because that's part of the group. That's part of the game. They want us to believe. That's another part of it. You're white and black, and then you think that's what the whole argument is, and then it's just what you're doing. You don't realize that cosmic law, the cosmic principle of polarity and rhythm. Yeah, you have to deal with the two sides of something. You got to deal with the wholeness of something. You can't turn around and say, "Yo, this is good and this is bad." Usually, that is based on personal perception and conditioned responses that then affect the reality you're going to create for yourself. There's certain people that have certain experiences in an environment, and the same kind of people don't have those same experiences. You see, because it's what we're creating on an individual as well as group level. Now, it's very important to comprehend this. Otherwise, this information, how are we going to use this information to empower ourselves, right? For 30, 40 years, I've been listening to a lot of things that I've really been hearing the same thing, the same rhetoric about, the black and white and the black people being, we've had so much taken away from us, and what's been stolen. And again, speaking like victims, always about what the Caucasian or the European has done to us. And the thing is, it's like at the same time we're going to say we're gods or goddesses or kings and queens. Now that's an oxymoron, because a god and a goddess is never a victim, because they know that they create and rule their reality. What it is about us rising up in our realization of the true identity of ourselves. So we stop playing the little guy. You see what I mean? Based on the misinformation we have been given to identify with. So it's a cosmic situation. This is something on a bigger, broader level, but they would like us to keep fighting within the little pen, thinking that's what it's all about. So I would like to elevate the consciousness to where we should be coming from. Super consciousness. You see, you have to begin to realize you are the creative power, and you are one with the infinite creative power of the universe, and that your true nature begins in the spiritual plane. Words have been used to disconnect you from the reality of yourself, which is then how the words manipulate what you create. So it's about taking back power. Yeah, your own power, empowering yourself. And this is how I would like to kind of break this stuff down.
And I hope you don't miss the information, because they made you information with the formation that they've given you in the words. The answer is in the sound. As my brother quite rightly said, it all based on thought, because thought base is based on auditing, it's based on mahat. You've got to see things in two sides. They've given you a one-dimensional view of how to look at things. Now you have to understand, as I said, if a dog barks at you and says, ruff, ruff, you don't say, call yourself, ruff, me rough, and then see your friend and say, me rougher than you, know me, and then you fight over it. So the same way that they've constructed these words, like the words black, they can see what they be lacking by the word black, so you just throw it back at them when you see it, and you do not define yourself by that.
That's an interesting point, because you see with the black, there's another way of breaking this down. In ancient Kemet, we have the Lord of the Perfect Black. That's Asar. Yeah, Wazar, sir, is even where you get the word sir from Wazar, which is Asar. Okay, now the point I'm making here is that the Lord of the Perfect Black, what is that? Yeah, we talk about black has been used as a terminology to define a whole nation of people. Yeah, and then we're fighting around trying to what does that mean? Does it mean that how dark you are? Yeah, how light you are? You're either too dark, or you're too light, or your hair ain't thick enough. What's defining black? Hang on a second. Yeah, what's defining black? In ancient Kemet, black was a state. It was nothing to do with defining yourself as a color, which is not a color. It's actually a state. The fertile land, Kemet, Kem means black. Yeah, so we got the fertile land, Kemet, black land. But when we're talking about the Lord of the Black, yeah, firstly we know that black is fertile, but there's also red soil, dark brownish soil, as well as black soil. There's different kinds of soil, and based on the different kinds of soil, different things will grow or may not grow in that particular soil. Yeah, so when we talk about Kemet, let's get something clear. We're dealing with the black fertile land, and when we go into the metaphysical of the perfect black, what that means is that when your consciousness is free, when you're free, from mental definitions that you use to define yourself, then your mind is now free to expand into the full vastness of what has been termed as blackness, the void, the blackness, which is free, empty of mental definitions that individuals use to define themselves. So what happens now is that the black represents the cosmic state, that your consciousness, you realize you are one with the boundless universe, and out of that undefined state of consciousness comes forth anything you visualize. You see, the perfect means complete. There's a lot of people that don't even use the term. If you say you're perfect, a lot of people are saying, well, I'm only human and nobody's perfect. That's you denying your divinity. Perfection means completeness. It doesn't mean you've never made a mistake. Like some people say, well, you're just perfect. Well, you've never made a mistake. Mistake and perfection is two different things. Mistake is like you go to take something, and as we phonetically will tell you, miss. You go to take and you missed it. So what do you do when you miss something? You try again. That's what a mistake is. Perfection means completeness, wholeness. If perfection did not exist in creation or wasn't established in creation, your body would not know how to heal itself. Your body would not be able to know how to create a whole, bring back the skin to the wholeness of itself before it was cut. Your bones would not be able to heal in a wholeness back again after it was broken. Yeah, this is being done without your conscious awareness doing this. So perfection is wholeness, and we need to comprehend and stop getting caught up in the misdefinitions, or and then yes, the words, you got to look into them, the phonetics and the way they're spelt. But the thing is, we don't want to confuse and create even more distortion for ourselves. There's a amount of slang that is being used from since I've been growing up, right? There's certain words that were never used. Now you're hearing these words. Ill. What the heck is ill? Yeah? Ill is supposed to tell you that, oh, you're well. Yeah? Ill, that's why they're using the term now when we're talking about slang. Slang has always kind of become a derivation of words, language, as we go by to try to express ourselves more clearly, because the words, the language we're speaking, what we've been taught to speak, is not our mother tongue and so forth. But the thing is, you got to be aware of what you're creating, right? With the words, with the sound, and the so-called language. As I said, it's tongue. And some people just think that there's many different languages. There's not different languages. There's one tongue, but there's many dialects of different, what you call language, of the one language, you see? So there's a composite of words coming from a different places, okay? And I'm talking, we have to use words to empower ourselves. So black, as I was saying, it's got that lack to it, but it means it's free from limited mental concepts people use to identify with. And black means now that you're in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Your mind is one with the cosmos. You're not identifying with limited mental ideas. That's what perfect black means.
And as we're breaking down etymology, which means the true meaning of the word, what's happened is they've taken out the vibration of the word. Like, the word is an action that you can perform. So for instance, the word black, they used to be the word more. More is something that you can achieve. You can achieve more. You can feel empowered by the word more. Even the word it means chemical. So it shows you that you possess power in the word. What they've done, they've taken out all the energy of the word by changing it into a noun. When you change a word into a noun through the process, as I said earlier, of Stretfo-Symbolia, when you change it into a noun, you stop the word being active. You create a state of the word is inactive. For instance, the word jump, run, or think are verbs. You can actually perform an action with these words. But when you change a word into a noun, like the word shy, there's nothing you can do with that word unless it's to be shy. So basically, this is how the language has been reconstructed, defined, taken away what's been found in the language to put you in a state of mind that is still your state of mind. So that this is what the language is doing now. It's taking all the verbs and changing them into nouns.
Yeah, and to also comprehend that, listen, when you're using language, you see, when you're using words, it's what images is being conjured in your mind. You see, you may use the word, because we're using these languages to express the images, the pictures in our minds that we think with. And really, it's more about, look, we got words that have different meanings look, we're using a same word. We could use one word, okay? Other people have different meanings of that. You know, like we just turned the term black. What does that mean? Many people got definitions to that. We got the word white, and then there's definitions to that, right? Yeah? So the thing is now, I'm told to call myself black. Okay, but the definition somebody else who's telling me I need to call myself that, what they have of the meaning of that word, if I embrace it, then I'm embracing their definition, not my definition or not my clarity. So words you can hear words, you can understand that words, you know, how the words have been constructed, deconstructed, and so forth. But when it comes to you as an individual, you got to be clear with how you're using a word. What do you mean? What are you visualizing? Because the same word someone else can say, like address, yeah? You may think you're talking about your postal code, where you live. Somebody else could say, you mean the way I'm clothed? Do you mean the attire that I wear? Yeah? You have two different definitions. Yeah? Depending on the definition someone has of the same word you use will be the way they're going to interpret it. And if you don't have the same definition, you're not going to have a meeting of minds. And this is where the complication comes from in even using the same language. Everyone's got a different definition, meaning to the same word that's coming out their mouth that the other person's using, but they have two different definitions. So we need to get clear with when we're using these words, which is a sword. S at the end of words makes a sword, and sword is dealing with the metal, and metal is linked to mental. So that's why they say they're going to test your metal. Then you got to sharpen your mind. You've heard of that, or your mind's dull, because these are metaphors to let you know really what the nature of your mind is. It's something that is able to cut through, penetrate into, yeah, how you use your mind. And you got mind fields. Why did they use that? So you got a power right there. Heart, mind is the magical power within you, and how you visualize using the words, what you're saying is what you're going to create, and it may have a total different meaning to how somebody else is visualizing what the words you're using. You get me?
Can I just come into here? Luckily, we are going to be on for an extra 20 minutes. So what I would like both of you, both gentlemen, what I'd like you both to do is to go a little bit more and then start sort of wrapping up your different opinions and whatever, so that when the next DJ comes on, which is Ricky D, that we could leave. But you know, the reasoning goes on, and thank you for sharing and enlightening us with terminologies of meanings of words and the importance that it plays in how we perceive life and what we're receiving or giving out to others. Yeah? Yes. So please, Jammers, are you going to...
Yeah, I'm just going to remind everybody, it's all about this two-day event. The first event was yesterday with Sarah Suasetti, and it's called The True Restoration of Kemet. And this is taking place at the Caribbean Cultural Centre, 9 Clarendon Road, Hornsey, London, N8 ODJ. And the event today starts from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. Make sure you're there. It's going to be great. And once again, it's a 2-day event. The first day was yesterday, of course. The second day is right here today. Make sure it's a date not to be missed with Sarah Sutan Seti, the true restoration of Kemet. And it's taking place at the Caribbean Cultural Centre, 9 Clarendon Road, Hornsey, London, N8 ODJ. Today from Sunday to the 2nd of April from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. Make sure you go down there. It's going to be great. And the reason why I brought that to attention because Seti is talking about the language, and his stance on the language is that the hieroglyphs cannot be deciphered. So he's giving his second lecture in relation to that. And this is the reason why we're talking about language.
You know, it's we all have to be, why I've come injected here is that, you know, for 40, I could say 50 years for me, yeah, I've been walking through this, what we could say, this path, right? A long walk on a short path, because the path is really towards yourself, but it's a long walk, you get me, towards yourself, based upon the misorientations we have had through education and based upon people around you. If you're born with a certain level, a certain awareness, you've come into this world with an awareness, a level of consciousness, and the people around you are not demonstrating that level, then you're going to have a hard time. The reason being, you've come in here to master yourself. You've come in here to overcome these challenges and not conform to what has been passed on to us by parents and society and even the groups you hang with. Not everybody thinks the same. Is saying he's coming over here with the lecture and the restoration of Kemet. You know, there's many definitions, people. It's like, when I say definitions, that word means limits and bounds to, as we've said with the etymology. And then we got the meaning that Brother Jammers also breaks down and says it means to take out the fineness, define. Yeah. Now, there's truth in both of that. But you see, it comes back to this. How are you going to use the information to empower yourself? Because we look outside of ourselves to follow other people, like their thinking is more valid than your own. That's how we've all been conditioned. Yeah, so that's the reason why we look towards what is considered the authority of intelligence, yeah, the European, to so-called qualify and certify you in an area to say that yes, your thinking is competent. But who is to turn around and say they're the authority of your mind? Yeah, I gotta look to someone else to ask, oh, is my thinking up to scratch, sir? If you say, yeah, I agree with what you gotta say, yeah. So now you think, yeah, okay, the authority told me that my thinking is good. Yeah, now that puts a lot of us in places where we don't have confidence in ourselves. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, because we need to think right. Yeah, but what does thinking right mean? It means to think constructively, focusing our attention or paying our energy, yeah, towards that which we truly want. But you know what? Many of us focus our attention on things we don't want. We'll put a whole heap of energy, pay enough currency for the things we don't want, and can't see that when you're paying attention to what you don't want, you're going to get more of what you don't want. So you have to master your own mind, which is what it means. It doesn't mean all this big intellectuals, so-called superpowered type of stuff that people think, oh gosh, you got a mastermind. No, it means mastering your own mind or your consciousness, where it is being focused, where you're directing it, and you do it with the words you choose to define your reality with. So each individual is supposed to be the authority and find the leader within themselves, which is the divine, the divinity within us, yeah, that you're supposed to bring forth, express, and lead your own ship. Direct your own mind. Stop looking to other people to tell you how to think. It's okay to listen to what others got to say, see where you resonate, help you expand your thoughts, also to clear up any misunderstanding or comprehension. But it's all for the purpose to direct you to become the master of your own ship. Because if you're not the one directing where your ship is going, then you're just hanging along for the ride. And that's what a lot of us seem to be doing.
And you'll be lost at sea, be lost at what you see, because you're not practicing your mahat, your intelligence to understand the two differences. Basically, I want to just show you as well what it is. We've got this divine power that when we open our mouth, what we call out comes to us. Look at the word call, and you reverse it, you see the word lack. So anything you lack, you call to it. Boy, I'm hungry. Boy, that dress looks nice. I need that, not dress for me, but dress for you. Boy, that girl look nice. I need a cake. I need a cake. I need food. So anytime I need, that girl, I want to build up my strength. I want to run. So anytime you call something out, it comes to you. What they've done with the language is they'll not make you hear what they're saying. They'll give you a pen, and you'll take the pen and you write down the line. But you never heard what the man said when he said pen. When you look at the meaning of the word pen, you see it means to hold something, and it means punishment. Hold like it's in suspending or suspenders or pending. So the pen means to hold, and it means punishment, like penalty or penitentiary. So when you're picking up the pen, it's designed to hold you, and it's designed to punish you if you don't do the right thing. They say right, but what does right really mean? Right means when you perform an action without thinking. So you take a pen thinking it's just an instrument to write, but when you find out pen means a penalty if you don't write if you don't perform the action without thinking. That's why you write in a sentence, because writing in a sentence, you're stuck in the action of the pen that keeps you thinking in something that's rated you above you as a sir. You become a thinker. That a sir has rated you, become a thinker, so rated person. That's why you have a brain cell where the think. If you look at the word think, you see the word ink in the word think. So your thinking is designed to hold you and penalize you if you don't do the right thing in the sentence.
Could I just inject there, my brother? That is one level breakdown, but this is a brilliant example. Now I'm going to break that down on another level. You see, pen can be penalty, held in a pen, something to restrict you. But did you know that pen and its elongated structure, shape that you identify with a pen? Before you had a pen, you had what you call a quill. Dipped it in the ink, had a feather on the end of it, because it was for the scribe, to describe through writing, documenting what he's writing down. But the pen actually was also linked to penis. Penis. There you go, because it's a long lingam. Lingam actually means the phallus. Now, why am I going into that? And I'm just talking about the pen. You pick up one every day, and you use this instrument, the ball point pen, right, to express your thoughts on paper. That's what it is. You're writing or scribing, to express your thoughts on paper so they can be documented, which is docking your mind, which is going back to maritime lore of what ships do, docking on the port. So your mind is being documented as you write with your pen. Now your pen, back to the pen, penis, is your willpower, your drive to live. The sexual organs are the creative principles that determines the quality of life you are going to live based on how you feel about yourself.
That's why it's held and penalized, and it's just make you be non-productive. That's why if you look at the word diction, it's to stop you being productive, because the person actually who made the dictionary did cut off his penis. Diction. Everything is sectioned. So basically, and rationalization, because these people come from a mountainous region, mountainous region. So they design everything to make you non-productive.
Well, there you go. But it is about being productive, constructive, not destructive. If you don't know how to direct your power in a creative way rather than a destructive way.
But don't follow their direction, because dire means you're in trouble, in dire circumstances. So do not follow the direction that they make, and do not follow their alterations, because they want to make you an alternative.
Well, the dire is also diarrhea, and that's what comes in when you can't break down the solids of your food and take out the nutrients needed. You see, it becomes runny because there's no structure, there's no substance to hold that you're taking in. That's wholesome. Yeah, and that's a way of also clearing your system out from that which no longer can really sustain it.
And the system is designed, the systems of growth that stems you. And if you look at the pen, you'll see the dye in the pen, which is designed to stain your understanding, because you stand under the person who's over, as I said, the sir. So you become incarcerated by the sir.
Interested. You see the games and the word plays that we're going on with, because you got the die, yeah, which is also to divide. You get a dice. You die. You divide. And which is what word die actually is, that you splitting from the physical form and moving back into your original state of formlessness, yeah, pure energy beingness, so of light and sound. So die is just splitting, yeah, to divide. And when you're divided against yourself, then in a way you are a bit dead,
like an individual, because they come in to divide you all in the word individual.
Ooh, but kick it this way, the word individual is a composite of two words, which is indivisible and duality, which means that you're an inseparable duality, which makes you the one. Indivisible duality, yeah, catch it. Individual, two words, composite, indivisible, inseparable. Duality or jewel, which means two. So if you're an inseparable two or inseparable duality, that makes you the one, and that's what an individual really is.
But they've divided that to make you against the one, because as my brother said, jewel means two, but if you listen to the sound of the word jewel, it means to fight. So you're fighting amongst yourself in the jewel of your duality.
There you go. So we don't need no more internal power struggle, which is what's going on, which then manifests itself outside, because everything's a projection of your consciousness when you look on the outside.
And if you find out that it was constructed by the Jew, because the Jew is really you, because there was no J in the alphabet, so when you look at it, you are the real Jew. It's a Y. So when you say that, you are really, it's really you, not Jew. So we should get what's due.
Well, there it is, but we must be the ones that generate what is due to us. And also, Jew is jewel. So are you the jewel, or are you in the religious meaning of what you think that word is contained?
We are not, because basically they created the J because there was no J in the alphabet. So they are the Jew, but we've got to take what's due, because if you look at it, wasn't it? So the Jew is really you.
Most certainly, because that's the why. Why is understanding the context to a situation so you can comprehend what it means.
Why is always the way to be wise as well. The more wise you ask, the more wise you can get.
There you go. So you got wiser, back to Asur, back to the supreme intelligence that resides
back
within.
To the answer the way it was.
There it is. So you see how words can be played, bounced, interplayed, and we can box and dance with it. There's different levels, layers of the interpretations or the meanings of a symbol. Picture has 1,000
and
words.
We're not being mean, because mean means average, but if you look at the word play, you see the word lay in it, and if you look at the word plane, you see the word plane in it. So basically, when you're playing a plane and playing, you're putting something in the lay of the play to catch you, like in the word play.
Or you could be on a higher level, higher plane, as you go on a plane to elevate and take you up to a higher stratosphere of thought, you see. So what plane are you on? So it can go on and on and on, but you see, the thing is, it's about how you empower yourself with self-knowledge, which is the soul. Your soul is the self. That's what we mean by self-knowledge. So how are you going to empower yourself? That's what the thing is. Not blame, not be a victim, because that means you ain't got no power.
And that's going to introduce fear with their inferioratory. Everything is inferioratory, from the fairy tale to put fear in you and make you fear means something lighter than you are. So basically, I hope you've been able to elevate yourself today.
And one more thing to say is just that fear, it can be force evidence appearing real, or how you're spelling it, F-A-I-R, in the language, not English, but fear comes from Hebrew, or they call Aramaic, which means beautiful, nothing to do with your complexion. So we can go on all day.
And if you look at the word fear, you see the word ear. It comes in the ear. Anything that you fear goes into your word ear, goes into the word, goes into the heart. Look at the word heart. In the middle of the word heart, you see the word ear. Look at the word heart again. Take the H out of the word heart, put that in, you see the word earth. So the earth and the heart is connected by the earth, and that's why we create the art and get rid of the fear.
Well, just to clarify that, you see, with the heart and the earth, it's just that the earth is you. You are the earth. The body is the earth. Yeah? And inside the center of the earth is your heart. And inside the ear of heart is where you're actually supposed to listen from, because your heart is conscious awareness. Heart mind is what we must align
and be
with.
Careful what you wear, because if you're wearing designer underwear, or you're created with the designer to wear, you could walk around with a closed mind.
Wow. Now, is that a lot to follow? But before the brothers leave the house, that was like, I hope for all my listeners, I hope you enjoyed that, because I sure did. We have a listener on the line that wanted to ask the brothers a question. I had to wait till they actually breathed in before I could take the mic from them, because they were on a roll and I really didn't want to break the roll. So, caller, can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Buzzin' B, and I'm calling from...
Boom, Buzzy. Hold tight, Buzzy. What you got to say?
Well, I was listening to the conversation quite intently, and I'm sure that Jammers and perhaps Grace and Siayome is aware that that's an area in which I'm very fascinated in terms of language.
I know you're quite an expert in that language, in that field yourself. You know, I've learned quite a lot from you as well.
Yeah, and linguistics. But the question that I was asking, apart from the wordplay, was about the series of language and its actual application in terms of how we can apply language in itself that can make us productive people, because you show me the language, you show me the people. And pretty much language in terms of not just words, but symbolism as well, because obviously words did emanate from symbolism. You know, so it is how can we use those in the actual practical sense. And that is question number one. And question number two, I could be wrong, but I did detect a little bit of cynicism, perhaps more from Jammers, about particularly using English words which derives from lots of different sources, in terms of that there seems to be a sinister motive in every word. Am I right in saying that? So those are the two questions I would like.
I'll come in first with the first one. But basically, you see that the words is based on phonetics, is sound. They played with the sound in the first place. They reversed the sound, and they've given us words like wicked, so they're playing with the sound. The next thing about playing with the sound, it expands your mind. And basically, if you look at the way that they play with semantics, is playing on words, and even how they write words is called they pronunciate words, so that's also a play on words. So what I've found is when you can find out the hidden meanings, like in grammar, and the sounds of the word, it speeds up your thought process and enables you to think at a higher rate and be great by using the words. You're never too late, because you can never make a mistake on the way that you play the words and keep things straight. So I've found that it's enabled me to speed up my mind in such a way. It might not have been answering the question, but I've just found by playing on the words, it's enabled me, and I know youngsters, they'll be able to do that as well. That's the first question you asked.
Well, I think that I'm not quite sure how much time we have to get into it, but it's quite interesting that you mentioned hidden meaning. How about Siayome in terms of the practical application of language?
Okay, go to the first question, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was just trying to hear everything you were saying,
Hidden meaning of language.
And what you said originally at the beginning about, and I think the second question about symbols, so was it the first one, that language are symbols. You are absolutely correct. When you look at what formulates language, it's letters, yeah? And then Jammers, that goes back to a leaf, yeah? Papyrus, that's where paper comes from, right? So when we are dealing with characters that combine together become a word, yeah, we are dealing with symbols. And symbols is a combination of many things put together. Yeah?
Yes.
So it becomes a condensed thought. So when you focus upon a symbol long enough, you begin to penetrate into the many layers, yeah, that go beyond the surface. So that's why symbols are so powerful, because it can contain contain centuries of information. if you are able to penetrate into the symbol and allow them the message that the soul comprehends, which is not going to be through a thinking process as the intellectual mind aspect, that portion of our thinking. It doesn't work through that processing point. It actually brings forth visions, images, you see, the symbols. So that's another way. Go ahead.
Can I come in there in terms of because we're looking at the psychodynamics of language, and obviously our relationship with language. Obviously, we're speaking, particularly us that from Africa that came to the West and got westernized through colonization or whatever.
Yes.
We are now relating to language that have much to do with our psychodynamics. So the question that I'm asking, how do we relate to this language in terms of our productivity? Because since we're using a foreign language, so to speak, to describe our environment, we're using their symbolism. Even as you and I speak, we're using the very language. So if there's cynicism and booby traps there for us, and we're using the same language, how do we explicate ourselves from that?
Okay, I would say that firstly we have to comprehend that even the language that we're using is not European origin. It's just been, when you have something and you distort that, it doesn't mean that you throw it away. In a sense, it's like when you understand that the origin of it, like for example astrology, there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with astrology from the time they become more so-called Afrocentric or into African spirituality. We think, hang on a minute, the astrology, well, that's in that Western stuff. And the thing is, that's not true. It's based on their misunderstanding that all of those signs were in ancient Kemet, and the Greeks were taught astrology from ancient Kemet. So when we don't realize the origin of something we're using, then you can't activate the deeper power in it. When you do realize the origin of it, then it doesn't matter how it's being used now. You end up tapping into the deeper power of it and command that from within yourself.
I do accept your argument. I have no disagreement there. However, if people are not, I would go far to assume that is not reflected in the majority of people that actually use the language to communicate. You might be of that height where you understand that principle in terms of originality, and that you're tapping into something even indirectly. But I think awareness is important, because if the majority is not aware, I don't think it stands much, in terms of movement and people using language in the correct way, because they still would be ignorant to the fact.
Yes, Buzzy, I think that's what we're here for. We're here to make them more aware that it's actual, what it is really, it's an African language. We created the sounds and the symbols. It's just been anglicized. So basically, this is our sound, and that's why we're so good at making the notes. We're the best singers, we're the best dancers, and the man who makes the best notes banks the most notes.
I agree with you. That's anglicized, but do we use it in its anglicized format and its anglicized consciousness? Then
I hear what you're saying.
Isn't that where the challenge lies? Because even though it's ours originally, but people can adapt things to their own uses. So if I adapt something to my own use and then you're using it, then you're taking on the same principle in which I choose to use it, not the original one.
I hear that. I mean, just to answer your question quickly, what you're saying makes so much sense. It's fully there. We don't have a lot of time to really go in it deeply. But your point is so valid, and it's about awareness, because you see, the thing is, what you're aware of, you see, we need to kind of talk about the language in more of a way where we can use it to empower us, because what happens, we do understand the language and how it's being used to entrap, enslave, and cause us to actually focus our attention on things that we don't want and materialize things that we fear happening, rather than focusing on things that we would truly desire to happen. So it's about the more awareness you have of the source and origin. It doesn't matter if something's being distorted, but when you go to the source and the origin of it, it can never be distorted. You just tuning back into that vibrational frequency. And it does take awareness of the individuals to discern what they want to use language for, because language can either build you up or break you down. So it's it's about the conscious awareness of the individual and what their intentions are for. You see what I mean? Yeah?
Absolutely. I do agree.
Can I just say my simple solution to that? All you have to understand is just their reaction to us. Everyone, all the language that they're using, our language, we're the master of the language. It's a simple their reaction to us. You don't take on the person's reaction, because then you can become like the person. So the simple solution is, if a dog barks at you, you don't start barking just because a dog barks at you. So they're using the language in their way. Because you're the master of the language, you can disseminate the language and use it in a way that's more empowerment for yourself.
No, but if the dog, Jammers, I just want to come in there on your analogy about the dog. But if a dog keeps barking at you, what are you going to do? You have to react anyway.
Yeah, but I think what Jammers is actually saying.
There will be some.
Yeah, there's going to be some interaction anyway, because you're going to feel something. You may feel afraid, and you think, "Dad, what's happening here?" But the metaphor is this: if somebody calls you a donkey, you don't turn into a donkey. You know what I mean? What I mean is that what people say, what we've been caught up in is this. We've been defining ourselves based upon what somebody else is calling us and how they define the word they're using for it to mean in how they're calling us that word. The thing is this. We have to stop looking outside of ourselves for others to define who we are. We have had these terms and so forth, but it's the individual that has to look into themselves and say, hang on a minute, I'm defining who I am. You understand? If somebody's calling me a derogatory statement, like someone wants to use the word nigger or use black in a very derogatory way, it doesn't mean that I have to identify with their mindset and believe that's how I am.
I think the point that I was just trying to make before I go, because I know time is running out.
Yeah.
The point that I was just trying to make is that, as it is said, every action is a reaction. So no matter what you do, it's a reaction. Even if it's positive, or if you choose to ignore it, that is still a reaction.
Yes, I mean, it's cause and effect. The thing is, we can master. That's why we're here to master ourselves, because we can be programmed to have knee-jerk reactions. It doesn't mean that you cannot change your reactions to not react at that which you used to react.
So I don't think it's necessarily negative to react. You know, it depends on how you do it.
It's how you do it, yeah, and what you react and why you're reacting to that. So, but we don't have much time, so I'm gonna have to pass this over.
That's right. Anyway, it's been fantastic. Discussion.
Wish you came in earlier. We had more time.
You got to come on the show next time, Buzzy, so we can buzz them even more. You started stealing me a lot, so I had to back out. Pass it on.
Yeah, keep up the work, Grace, Sister Grace, and Amanda, and Siam, and Jammers.
All right, it's thank you for phoning in, and thank you for sharing with us, and I hope that our listeners have enjoyed the extended time that we've been privileged to have, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ricky D in the house, and he's gonna relax your mind from all the exchange of word plays that's been happening here at Slam House. And I'm going to tell you, there is more of this to come, so please continue to listen. Have a fantastic week. I've had a wonderful day today, and I will be back with Sister A on Wednesday from 7 till 9, and you never know, so continue to tune in, but relax and chillax with Ricky D, because he's in the house. Well, I can continue talking. Not really. Well, anyway, I have to say thank you to Jammers for coming and sharing with us. Thank you, Siayome.
Yes,
I'm pronouncing that correctly, am I?
Yes, you pronounced it correctly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Because, you know, I don't mind, but he did slap my wrist for pronouncing his name incorrectly. So Siayome and Jammers.
Yeah, I'd just like to say we're going to be here at the two-day event, West Indian Cultural Centre, 9 Clarendon Road, Hornsey, London, N8, with a great Saraswati Seti continuing the talk of language, and we'll be back, of course, on Slam Radio if we're invited again. I hope we haven't used all the time and blown your mind. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, and just to say, as Siayome, thank you all for listening, tuning in. I'm an astrologer, consultant, and an intuitive soul counselor. I'm very quite into a lot of the super consciousness aspect of ourself and our spiritual growth and development. So, I'm contactable on 0757 42066163 or divineinnersourcedirect@gmail.com for if anyone wants to continue any further deeper insight to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's goodbye from Sister A. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday.